We've talked about that in other podcasts that we've done.
Deliver those checks, right?
Deliver those checks. This lady had came in. She had purchased disability insurance for her pregnancy. She had came in to do her enrollment the following year and had related to me that she wanted to drop her disability. She was done having babies. And I told her, I said, I will totally do that for you. And Megan, we are all about telling somebody when they can drop coverage. Right. I mean, we're going to do the right thing. I had it in my head. I explained to her, I will totally do that for you. Her husband had told her to do that. They needed that $40 back in their check. And I told her, I said, if you need $40 back in your check, then that's telling me that your paycheck is very important to you. You've exhausted all your sick days with this pregnancy. Will you do me a favor and please hang on to it one more year? Mm-hmm. And she said, my husband's going to kill me, but I'll do that. What you said made sense. That was in August. And then in December, in Oklahoma, we had that really bad ice storm. And she was on her way home from work. She was in a 4-car pileup in the ice. She was the second car in that accident, and she was crushed from the waist down. I'm going to tell you real quickly that she's fine now. She didn't die or anything like that, but the doctors were giving her a horrible diagnosis of that she would probably never walk again. She came to me the following year. She had kept her disability. The following enrollment, she walked through the door with her walker, and we both started bawling because I had helped her husband. She was in the hospital for 5 months, and wow. I had helped her husband file all the disability claim forms, and they received $2,500 a month for 5 months. And she told me, she said, I would have lost my home if it hadn't have been for you, because my husband had to take off work to be with the kids, to go get groceries, to feed our family. And she said, I literally do not know what we would have done without that money coming in. And so after we got through all of the tears, I said, so do you want to drop your disability this year? And she said, can I raise it?
Right.
Am I at my maximum? Can I take out more? So, I mean, it's kind of cheesy sometimes because I know we're insurance agents, but you know what? Life happens. And especially in 2022, I mean, not only are we dealing with car wrecks and people driving 90 miles an hour, they've raised the speed limits. We're dealing with COVID. We're dealing with gunshot wounds. We're dealing with pandemics. I mean, life is just getting tougher and tougher. And so insurance is becoming more and more of a real topic, which is why I'm so glad we're having these podcasts.
Taylor, another thing we wanted to talk about is a hospital indemnity. It's HI. Can you tell us your experience with hospital indemnity? Is it worth it? Just kind of give us a brief overview about a hospital indemnity plan. Darla and I are seeing a lot more of these out in the marketplace.
Yeah. So of those voluntary, work site type benefits, there's a million out there. That could be hospital indemnity. It could be accident. It could be critical illness, cancer, universal life. There's a million different options out there. My personal opinion, as an ancillary rep, is that the hospital indemnity is the most valuable one out there. It's the one that we, and not just we at Mutual, just in the industry in general, we see the most utilization on that plan. With a CI plan, you have to have a very specific diagnosis of a very specific critical illness to qualify for that. And I'm not saying that those don't have their place, because they do. But a hospital indemnity is a little bit more general. And like the other trend we've seen is these medical deductibles going up and up and up. And we've said, pretty much the theme of these 2 episodes is, do you have enough money saved up to make it? Do you have enough money saved up to meet a $5,000 deductible plus all your other expenses? Probably not. And that's where an HI plan can really add some value.
And those are minimal expense. So for example, because the bulk of what Darla and I do, or medical, dental, and vision for, groups. And so in order to jump from, let's just say, a $5,000 deductible down to a $2,000 deductible, we are looking, again, there's lots of variables, but I'm going to give some round numbers. We're looking at probably $200 per person per month in your family.
Goodness.
Yeah, for that cost premium. So, for example, if we wanted to, we had a $5,000 deductible, tell us what that hospital indemnity plan would cover.
Yeah. So you typically get, and again, all this is different based on who you're buying it through.
Right.
Because everyone's fine print is different, right? But generally it works the same way. You typically get a one-time benefit upon hospital admission. So a lot of times there's a different admission benefit for ICU versus regular hospital. And then you get a daily payment from every day that you're in the hospital. I know we've talked a ton about maternity in regards to SCD, but maternity is actually covered under hospital indemnity also.
Right.
So really any type of hospitalization can qualify for that. But maternity can too. And so can well baby. So if your baby's, in the NICU for a couple of days after being born, or you guys are just there for your normal, 2 to 3 days, for the delivery, that can be covered as well. Does that answer your question?
It does. Yeah. So basically we are going to take a $5,000 deductible. Let's say our hospital indemnity plan is a $2,000 HI. So it's a $2,000. It basically pays, we file the hospital indemnity plan, claim, and that would give us $2,000 to use towards our $5,000 deductible. So in essence, we've taken our $5,000 deductible, and for approximately $20 per month, we've reduced that down to a $3,000 deductible, correct?
Yes, exactly. And kind of like I said on the other podcast, these benefits are between the employee and the carrier. Right. So they file that benefit. They get that $2,000 back. It doesn't go to the hospital system that treated them. It goes directly to them. So they could have even, satisfied their deductible earlier that year because of some other stuff, but they're getting this money back that they wouldn't have gotten back otherwise.
Great point. Great point. Taylor, thanks so much for joining us. We've had such a great conversation with you, and you've really enlightened all of our guests.
Da-ding.
Da-ding.
Thank you.
Disclaimer. Subjects that we discuss on the podcast are meant to be used as topics of conversation. All figures given are sheer examples. All information is subject to change and probably has changed since the airing of this podcast. Rates and figures change depending upon the demographic in which you live. Anything discussed in this podcast is our opinion. We do not represent Medicare, any governmental agencies, or any of the carrier partners on the show. Each person should do their own research on the various websites to ensure accuracy.